How you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
All right. You a citizen?
No, I've got a visa. Oops.
What's that?
I've got a visa and here's my driver's license. I'm a journalist.
Can I see your visa?
Having our documents checked.
Okay, fellas. So by law, you do have to have your green card on you, okay?
Okay.
So next time you come to a checkpoint or go visit the border or something, make sure it's on you, okay?
Okay, we didn't know that. That's never happened to me in any part of this country before, or in any other country in the world.
With border crossings reaching record highs in recent years, immigration has returned as this election's most toxic issue.
Millions and millions of people have come into our country and nobody has any idea where they're from.
Donald Trump has continued to push conspiratorial racist tropes.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
And even more extreme policies.
We're going to have the largest deportation effort in history.
Meanwhile, the Democrats have responded by shifting further to the right.
If someone does not make an asylum request at a legal point of entry, they will be barred from receiving asylum.
We've come to southern Arizona, near the border with Mexico, to try and unpick facts from misinformation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
We're at a
of
meeting
America.
of the Pima County Republican Party, which is a county that covers Tucson. This is a big car rally. A lot of people talk about the border.
The border's got to get closed up.
Those people that are breaking the laws of this country that came across here illegal are going to be mass deported.
Mass deportations, that's what Trump's calling for.
Yes.
That's millions of people we're
Well,
talking
the
about.
people that are here illegally. I don't have any problem with people coming here. My grandparents came here, but they did it the right way.
Like millions of people, though.
I don't care.
So
I think it has to happen, and I think citizens have to be behind it.
How do you think it's possible to do that humanely?
I don't know that, but I'm confident Trump can do it.
You said you're a Mexican American.
Yes.
What do you think about Trump's border policy?
I love it. I love it. I'm 100% for it.
Do you know anybody that can cross the border without applying for a green card?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, I have family members that did. Cousins, nephews, nieces.
Because those people might be deported if Donald Trump wins.
That's okay. That's okay.
How long have they been here for?
Years, like 20, some like 30 years.
And so you think that members of your own family who've been here for 30 years should be deported?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, they can be deported, but they can also apply to come back again to the United States, but do it the right way.
How do you think they would feel about you saying that?
Oh, they would be very angry. They are angry at me right now. They don't talk to me because I support Trump.
It's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much.
To meet you
Faith.
too. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Okay. We've been making these films for a long time, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. And it just shows to you how polarized this issue has become and how far to the right this party has gone.
As the car rally lurched into action, we hitched a ride with Party Secretary Steve Selvey.
There's a legal process. Okay. Obviously, you expect some of that. We have Democrats talk about it's their goal to replace the white majority, and then if you bring it up, they're upset with you for noticing. But it's
and is that a concern that you've got about the white majority of this country?
Not white, because they want to make it a racial issue. I'm concerned that the plan is to bring in a bunch of new Democrat voters. We hear reports that there are terror cells setting up here. When you're not vetting people. I'm sorry.
Where are you seeing those reports? I definitely haven't seen them.
You haven't seen those?
No.
I'd have to find that for you because I've seen it.
The views here are mainstream in the Republican Party, and in a political climate that's become increasingly hostile, groups like Humane Borders have stepped in. For years, they've placed water stations for migrants crossing the desert, even as far-right militia and border authorities have tried to obstruct their work.
Mayor has been alleged to have vandalized several water aid stations that were positioned in rural Pima County.
We have to lock them now.
Why is that?
To keep vigilantes from doing nasty stuff to the water.
It's probably down a quarter or so.
Oh, this barrel is one of my tax jobs. It's been stabbed or shot quite a few times. You can see I've used the hot glue gun on it a few times.
I mean, obviously there is a fentanyl crisis in this country at the moment. Some people would say that smuggling routes around here, you know, are contributing to that. I just wonder whether you worry about that.
The vast majority of the fentanyl that comes in through ports of entry. It doesn't come across, you know, illegal crossings through the border. It comes across Americans, you know, driving it across in their trucks, cars, whatever. So I don't think that what we do here contributes to the fentanyl problem.
There you are.
Just a few hundred yards away, Joel showed me where he recently found the body of a young Mexican woman.
We've walked about 300 yards and already doing 60 miles feels unfathomable to me.
She was like a 32-year-old woman from some small village in Mexico, just came here for a better life. And the heck of it is, her life, wherever she was going, probably wouldn't be that fantastic, but it was better than where she was. I think that's what people tend to forget is, well, not everybody's as fortunate as Americans are.
Someone's hat.
Just a lightweight jacket. Doesn't matter if we're talking Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald J. Trump, or Joe Biden. It's all the same. Death is the policy. Supposedly we're the land of the free, the home of the brave, but we don't act like it.
Tucson forms part of Arizona's 6th congressional district, a Republican stronghold for years, but now one of the most competitive races in the entire country. I've come to meet Kirsten Engel, running for Congress against the incumbent Republican.
Hi, Kirsten. Hi, nice to meet you.
Like many Democrats in Washington, she supports a bipartisan border bill, which included $650 million for Trump's border wall and other measures approved by Republicans. But in an act of political maneuvering, Trump rallied to block its passage.
For the last 24 hours, he's done nothing but reach out to Republicans in the House and the Senate and threaten them and try to intimidate them to vote against this proposal.
So this is a border district. People will probably ask you about that. What's her position on the border? You tell them, I support securing our border. We need bipartisan compromise, and we need to reform our very, very out-of-date immigration laws.
We're joining a group of young interns out canvassing for Kirsten.
Talk to Republicans and they're like, I'm terrified about the border. I'm convinced, that we're gonna go towards communism with Kamala. So like all these things that are very like real fear to them. And you can tell that they're scared.
From what I know, there's been a lot of security issues over there. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to point out, just because it's super relevant, especially living in a border district, there was recently a bipartisan deal regarding the border in Congress, and it would have created fentanyl detection machines and instituted more judges to help asylum seekers. Trump called a bunch of Republicans in Congress and basically believed that if this deal were to pass and actually help the problem, it would be bad for him politically.
Do you feel like you changed his mind there?
I kind of think you might have, dude.
Yeah,
that was really good.
I'm definitely gonna mark him as undecided.
Democrats like Kirsten now find themselves torn between progressive values and a harder line on the border.
It's a compromise. And at this point, we definitely needed something. We needed something to deal with, frankly, the, large numbers of migrants coming to the border and yet not having the personnel to process these people who are claiming asylum. And the way in which that was really distracting from the law enforcement mission of dealing with issues of the cartel-based, drug smuggling and human smuggling.
If you cast your mind back to 2016, before Donald Trump entered the political arena, it would potentially be unimaginable to some in the Democratic Party that there would be bipartisan support for measures that allow the president to shut the border down, to fund more border wall expansion. And I just wonder what you make of that and what Trump's impact on the political discourse here has also done to your own party.
I don't think it's just been Trump, but I think part of it has been Trump. It's also been that, there's a huge amount of dislocation in the world. climate change, economies have been falling apart. The United States has always been a harbinger of hope. We want to stay that way, but we also have to have an orderly process to enable people to apply for things like asylum at our southern border.
Are you Dora?
Before I left Tucson, I came to meet Dora Rodriguez,
So nice to meet you.
an asylum rights advocate who fled El Salvador's civil war and almost died crossing the border in 1980.
Exactly.
She helps to house recently arrived asylum seekers.
How many folks staying here when it's busy?
Right now it's only Haiti and her baby and her son.
Uh-huh.
¿Cómo le va?
Bien, aquí,
Va llegando.
cansada.
Oh, estos son mis amigos.
Haiti and her family recently fled the Maduro regime in Venezuela, crossing the harsh, mountainous rainforest of the Darien Gap.
Bueno, dejamos Venezuela por la misma situación país que hay con los gobiernos corruptos, porque no podemos adquirir un buen trabajo porque los salarios son muy por debajo.
You're working now, right?
Tengo 6 días que empecé a trabajar.
So she's doing housekeeping. Es un lugar de viejitos,
Sí,
in a
es,
retirement home.
Can you tell me what it was like to cross the Darien Gap?
Duramos 3 días y medio en la selva metidos. Cuando viajé, mi hija tenía 2 meses. Ya por lo menos el tercer día yo no quería avanzar más. Yo me quedé en una montaña y ahí no quería avanzar. Me atacaron los nervios. Y había unas personas que tenían un mecate y me decían que confiara en ellos y les diera también a la niña, a otro amigo, que soltara a la bebé porque yo no la quería soltar, no se la quería entregar a nadie.
We are very close to an election in which one candidate promising mass deportations and another says that they will back legislation that would allow the president to shut the border down. I just wonder whether you think either of those are viable answers to the problems at the border.
This issue of immigration has become so polarized and dehumanized and criminalized. So many people have just this tunnel vision of what immigration is, or they just have one form of information. But I hope that whoever wins get away from criminalizing who we are. I hope. But I don't know.
Hope for a more nuanced approach to immigration reform seems out of reach in this election. And as extremist policies become more popular, it's Donald Trump who stands to gain the most.